Yo, click subscribe on the Big Zo podcast right now. Let's get started.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? Miss Omi, welcome to the Big Zo podcast. I go by the name of Berto,
It's your boy Beast on the beat.
and
Let's invest.
we got the homie Scott. Today conversation what we're gonna be talking about is about the Airbnb investment. That's what we wanted to have Scott. You know, I wanted to introduce Scott to our podcast because that's what he has like more information about it, more knowledge about how to start your own Airbnb as an investment tool. So Scott, let the people know.
What's up, y'all? So my name's Scott. On my Instagram, my YouTube, and all my social media, I go by Scott Just Invest. And I know Berto and Beast for a minute, but what I do is I leverage properties and utilize them through Airbnb to make my return.
All right. So a question, because I know you were speaking to me about that earlier, like earlier the week. So how can someone um get into what you were doing, basically renting out the Airbnb, and why is it a good investment?
So the way someone can get into it is first you have to get the knowledge first and foremost. That you could do that by reading some books, or you can get on YouTube, preferably my YouTube, and you can start learning what I've done. Works for me, especially if you're in West Palm Beach area. Also, what's the second part of that question again?
Why is the Airbnb is a good investment?
Right. Good question. So the reason why it's a good investment is that it has very low capital. So like most investments, like if you want to buy a property, I know there's the FHA loan, but then it doesn't have much return on the back end for profit. If you want to do an Airbnb rental, you can actually make a lot more money. So like you could be making like anywhere from like profit like 1,000 to 3,000, depending on what you are renting. You can make even more. So the reason why it's a good investment is you're utilizing somebody else's property. You don't need to buy this property, and if there is any issues, you can always back out of it and break a lease. So it's like it gives you a lot of exit strategies, but it also has great reward when you start doing it the right way.
Oh, so you mean like you don't own the property,
You
you
don't have
using
to own
somebody
it
else's
now.
property, use
Now,
somebody else's property to make money. Okay,
exactly. So,
I didn't know that. Okay, damn,
yeah.
that's pretty dope.
So basically, you basically a property manager for private owners.
No. I mean, essentially, they can view me as a property manager by the way I handle their property. I make sure it stays in like tip-top shape and stuff like that. But
Right.
it's really a business relationship. When you take over the property, you're actually going in there with the landlord understanding that you're running a business through this property. It's no different from a law firm going to a building and renting out that unit to run their law firm through. So it's not so much like, I'm a property manager. The landlord can see me that way, but actually it's a business relationship that we're building.
Yeah, but the reason I say that is like, even though you do it through Airbnb, and which is based on every day or every other day, like especially here in Tallahassee, you have a whole bunch of apartment complexes or
Mm-hmm.
houses that people lease out and basically do the same thing. Like instead of renting every day or renting it out for a week, they rent it out for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you, is that kind of what you do?
Nah, so with Airbnb is typically like short-term rental. So the people are staying there for like, anywhere from like 1 to 3 months. It
Mhm.
depends, like 1 day to 3 months. So it really depends on what they need. It's typically like, vacation and stuff. People want to get out of town, or they want to just get out the house for a little bit, or whatever their reason may be. So it's not like being in Tallahassee where people are renting for the duration of their semester, or they're doing a 1 year lease. It's not like that. It's more so the people are coming to stay there for like vacation or something.
All right.
Okay, and
Go ahead,
no,
bro.
go ahead. My bad. No, you go ahead. My
I
bad.
was gonna ask you, like, what's a typical day like for you? Like, what
Well,
do
as
you?
a host, or just period.
I'm saying, as a host, or like,
So
what do you go through?
I mean, you go through a lot, man, because you're dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, and these people are like really counting on you, because they could just go to a hotel and it's a more sure thing. They're really counting on you to put your best foot forward. There's some people who aren't like the best hosts, Me, on the other hand, I won't say I'm the absolute best host because there can always be someone better. But what I would say is that I go above and beyond because you're building a relationship, a trustworthy relationship between you and the actual client. It's not like it's when they're renting, it's not like they're just renting through Airbnb and Airbnb is handling everything. You're actually handling everything because you're almost like an independent contractor on Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
So on a day-to-day basis, you're constantly talking to people. People are constantly trying to inquire about your property. You're constantly cleaning up the property. And if you're trying to build and scale the business, you're constantly trying to find more units and stuff like that. But that's just really on a day-to-day basis how it really works for me.
So, like for example, I'm using like okay, Palm Beach. Palm Beach is one of the areas that's where a lot of people, especially the elderly people, go. Go on vacations and stuff, or Fort Lauderdale or South Beach, Miami.
Yeah.
So, can you rent out a room? I guess that's my question. Or you like if you have a house, because I'm looking at like my parents, the way they the way they renovated their house, the
Mhm.
garage, they
Yeah.
made it into like a master bedrooms sort of, but it has its own entry and stuff,
hmm
own entry and exit. Are you able to rent out a room through that? Is that a good like way to like for profit?
Yeah. But before I answer that, I kind of wanted to jump back to what B said. Asked me
Hmm.
my daily routine. Honestly, my daily routine is really lax because I really have a time frame in which I seriously am working if I'm cleaning out the properties, and that's whatever time frame you want to set. But when I'm cleaning out those properties, that's when I'm extremely busy. Other than that, when those people are in the unit, I kind of can do whatever I want. So if I had another thing I was doing, for instance, I used to do wholesale real estate. I was doing wholesale real estate at the same time as managing my Airbnb properties because it's really that window in which I need to make sure the property is clean for the next person. And all the time after that, I could be doing my own thing. I could be doing wholesale real estate. I haven't done flips yet, but I could be doing flips and I could be doing any other thing with my time because once someone's in that property or your properties, you don't have to worry too much besides basic communication.
Uh, I was gonna say something real quick. I just want you to clarify the skills needed to do the stuff that you do, the skills
Um,
or degree, because it sounds like you dibbling and dabbing within like real estate and management and just a little. I just want to know what degree
so
skills you need.
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about it, and I kind of talk to people about this all the time. Just learning a high profile, having high profile knowledge is more important than the actual skill. You feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because some people may think that you need to have a degree. Some people may think you need to have some type of certification. You need to be a realtor. You don't have to have any of those things. You just gotta have the wits, right? So really all you have to do is be really good with communication, have dial in on customer service once you actually get a unit, and you'll be good. It's really not as difficult as people may think it is. And that's why on my YouTube, on my first video, I really wanted to break it down and like let people know that this is a simple strategy, but if you do it right and you know how to communicate with people, you'll be able to do this thing really easily and profit off of it, and you don't need no high school diploma, no college degree at all to do this. And this is just high profile knowledge. A lot of people aren't privy to this type of knowledge, or they're not searching for it. So there's no prerequisite of information you need to know other than how to do the strategy.
And are you teaching classes or are you working with anybody in Palm Beach area?
So I haven't taught no classes. I told at first that wasn't one of my first ideas. Like, man, I should teach a course or something like that. But I had one of my OGs kind of told me like, before you do that, you go ahead and give the people who's close to you, and that's the people in my city, the people who I knew growing up. Start giving them some game because you may want to charge them, but they just like you. Maybe they don't have the money to buy a course right away. So, if you start giving them the game for free, maybe they can make a change. So my OG kind of told me that. At first, I was still a little reluctant of like, teaching and stuff like that. I was still in that mindset where, oh, I don't want to I don't want to start telling too much people I may be looking like I'm flexing or something like that or something, you know what I mean? But I really thought about it, and when COVID hit, I'm like, I'm sitting on this knowledge and I'm not sharing it. So I was like, I really need to get it back to my people who've been through the similar type of struggle as me that could just benefit. Even if you get one, you know what I mean, that could start making some changes, allowing you to be able to move through the system that we're dealing with. And, you know, I talked about that with my peoples, and my peoples really said, man, if you got that on your heart to share and teach somebody how to do the things that you do, then go ahead and do it. So that's really how it came about. Me started my YouTube and trying to show people how to do it. I didn't want it to be something where I'm charging people from the gate.
Mhm.
Now, once I start showing my people and all the stuff is out on my YouTube, maybe one day I may put down a real comprehensive course on how everything goes and how I do everything. But for the time being, it's just a simple skill that I learned that I feel like I didn't have to pay for. So I don't need to, you know, kind of force everybody to pay for when we all can eat from it.
I think that's a great idea, man, and you should be appreciated for that. Where do you think your industry is going within like the next 2-3 years or even 5 years?
So you said my industry?
Yeah, like working, like how do you
Um,
see your business growing?
So me, I kind of right now it's kind of like we dealing with COVID. All industries have kind of been impacted, you know, negatively, except for like a few industries like e-commerce. You know what I mean? But like travel industry been impacted pretty big. So I mean, you know, I don't know if any of you guys grab the airline stocks and stuff like that. That's something y'all should look into, and whoever is going to be viewing this podcast, definitely look into the airline stocks because they dropped tremendously. And that's really where my industry lies with Airbnb is the travel industry. So right now is probably not the best time to run and jump into it. It's still gonna take time to learn it, so it wouldn't happen at this moment. But right now is the time to learn the strategy while everybody's kind of still stuck in one place, so that when we do get released, you can really hit the ground running and you know, be really successful with it. Because once COVID starts to slow down a little bit and we start to get a handle of everything, what's gonna happen is gonna be a huge influx of people who's trying to go travel. So when all those people trying to travel and you getting into the game right at the right time because you use this time to learn, you're gonna be getting into the game right at the right time. And all you're gonna do is capitalize, and it's gonna be a snowball. So like that's why I really felt like, man, it's downtime. I might as well teach somebody. And you know, with the time that it takes to learn, by the time it's really time to get active, they'll be already set with the knowledge they needed to get into the game.
Now, with the whole units as far as a home, if I decided I want to rent out a room, is that possible, or it has to be the entire home? How does
So
that like work exactly?
So the beautiful thing about Airbnb is really based on the experience that you provide as a host. So like, you know, the basic answer is, yeah, you can rent out a room, you can rent out, you know, an apartment or whatever, but there's people that rent out tents, you know what I mean? There's people that rent out like cabin houses, tree houses, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
really about the experience that you give the guests and what the guests are actually looking for. So yeah, you could do a house, you could do an apartment, you could do like efficiency in your backyard, like you could do all those different things. So that leads me to like the next point. Um, the first place you should be looking at is where you live. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to get into it and you don't have a way of getting enough money, or let's say you got a 2-bedroom apartment and you like, okay, I'll Airbnb this one room. I'm by myself. I'm in my own room. I'll Airbnb this one room, and now I can start getting some cash flow, so I can start moving a little bit more freely. And then let's say you want to then jump into the arbitrage game, and that's what I do, the arbitrage game. And then you'll have a little bit more cash flow to work with. You know what I mean?
What is that? The what you say arbitrage? What is that?
Yeah, so rental arbitrage is basically what I had told y'all, is where you lease a property and then you utilize that property as an Airbnb unit.
Oh, okay. I see what
Yeah.
you mean.
You see, that's what I was asking you. How do you plan on or where do you see your business growing? Because like in order to do that, you would have to buy a property. You know what I'm saying? And you might not even want that property. You might flip that property, so you might get into real estate off of that. And I'm just trying to find out for a young person that wants to. This is all investing. You know what I'm saying? So where would they go and start? You know what I'm saying? Do they go start in stocks and learn the stock game? Do they go learn in real estate and learn the real estate game? Because investing, like you can invest in anything as long as you put your mind into it. So it's like, what is in 2020? What is, you know what I'm saying? What is the goal for people to invest in?
So in 2020, we got this crazy, we got this thing kind of like sold up because we got the internet. You know what I mean? So it's not one thing that you can invest in that's gonna be the holy grail of it. Honestly, everything works. So if you want to invest in rental properties and stuff like that, where you buy it and rent it out, that's cool. If you want to lease a property, utilize it for Airbnb the way I do it, that's great. If you want to buy stocks, that's great. It's really, the game is wide open. You know what I mean? Because the internet allowed it to be. Before, when there wasn't as much internet access, Google wasn't popping as much as it is now. I mean, you really had to get somebody to really bring you on, teach you the game, and then you could do something. But now on the internet, you could just jump on the internet, ask a few questions on Google, and you got the answers to the test. So if you want to jump into stocks, go ahead and get on Google, learn your stock, invest the time into learning, and you will get it. You know what I mean? It's really not one way to do it. What I would say is don't try to do too much too quick. I see a lot of people try to do, oh, I want to do all stocks right now. I want to do rental properties. I want to buy real estate. And if it's your first time really investing, really dial in on stocks. You know what I mean? Really dial in on real estate, whatever it is, whatever it may be, because if you're trying to balance all these things and you ain't got no help, you just gonna be, you know what they say, a man of many is a master of none. You ain't gonna master nothing. And you just really gonna be, spinning that wheel, and you ain't really going nowhere. You're gonna be like that hamster on that wheel, just going crazy, and you ain't going nowhere.
That's a great point.
True.
And what about credit? Do you have anything on credit?
Credit is it depends on how you look at credit. I'm gonna be straight up. I don't have the best credit in the world, but I'm not nowhere close to bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. But credit is just, it's a tool, man. The moment you start looking at money like a tool, you'll start to be able to utilize it the right way. So you're not gonna take a hammer and use it as a spoon, right? You're gonna take. It's not gonna work that way. But if you take it and use it on a nail, it's gonna make sense. And that's the way you got to handle your money. You really need to make it move the way it need to move. It's supposed to flow. That's how money's supposed to work. It's supposed to flow. So you make some money, you take it, you put it back into something else.
All right, that sounds great, man. Well, hey, Scott, before we get out of here, man, tell them people where you could where they could find you, because I know you just started your YouTube page, and I think you got a if I'm not mistaken, Instagram page also.
Yeah. So if you want to find me, you can find me on all social medias as Scott Just Invest. That's on YouTube, Instagram, and also Twitter. And if you might want
to spell the last name.
Well, on Souffrant. Oh, if you want to find me on Facebook, you have to find me as Scott Jot Souffrant. It'll be Scott Scott, and then my last name Souffrant. That's a long last name, so hey.
That's a long last name. That's how you might want to spell it. Be sure you act like I'm the only one that had a problem spelling it.
Yeah, hey, that's that real last name, bro.
Yeah,
what? All right, man. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, much love. I appreciate y'all having me on the Bizzo podcast.
Hey, yeah, man. Make sure you keep on keep strategizing and keep helping the younger generation, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Definitely.
Especially with this technology, man. So different ways to make money out here.
Yeah, tons of ways, man. If y'all interested in finding out how I do things, on a personal level, y'all can hit my line now. Definitely.
I mean, we'll talk after this podcast.
We'll talk. Big Zo podcast. We out. Holla at your boy.
We out, man. We out.